Welcome back to the newsroom here at France 24. It's time for Media Watch France with James Creedon. We find out what the juicy bits are in the French press today. Hi there, James.
Hello, Laura.
And Charlie Hebdo. Now, this is the satirical weekly that had that very controversial picture of the Prophet Muhammad last week.
Will we have a look at it? I mean, I'm not sure. It's still controversial. Here we have it on the computer. Charlie Hebdo, so you had...
That got them into some big trouble with the religious extremists, didn't it? They got
firebombed. Indeed. That was a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad, which you're not allowed to do in the Islamic faith. And we remember back in 2006, the Danes did it in one of their newspapers, and it sparked riots all over the place. Right. And there were deaths as a result of that, so it was pretty serious stuff.
But it had such a great effect on sales that the magazine has done it again. And what have they come up with this time?
Look what they came up with this time. Bearing in mind that their offices were firebombed, they came up with, now what some misinterpreted as Muhammad again, it's not. I mean, this is a devout Muslim, one would say, kissing one of the cartoonists from Charlie Hebdo. A big homosexual kiss. And the title is Love is Stronger Than Hatred. But what I think is really shocking is the amount of saliva going on with that particular kiss. But anyway, it's shocking in any case. And as Le Monde headlined, you can see it up here, humour, l'appel à la tolérance de Charlie Hebdo. L'appel, that's a word play, because the appeal for tolerance is what it sounds like, but pelle is also French kiss, l'appel.
Very good. I see what they've
so yeah, it's I suppose it's what some people on Twitter have been saying is it's a sort of a conciliatory move in the sense that they're showing them kissing and making up, but it's also provocative. It's the two rolled into one, but it didn't amuse this person in Tunisia at all. She said this is Charlie Hebdo once again being a grotesquely sad clown, or I suppose taking the art of being a grotesquely sad clown to new heights. Now Gawker said that they're the ballsiest magazine in the world. See that there? Ballsiest magazine in the world. Right. And Douglas Herbert, our international affairs editor, brought something to my attention. This is kind of interesting. It is reminiscent of a 1993 front cover of the New Yorker magazine, which showed a rabbi and an African-American woman kissing. This after riots in Brooklyn, the Crown Heights riots, where a Hasidic Jew rolled over a young African-American child, and it sparked riots between the communities in Brooklyn. And this was meant to symbolise the reconciliation between those two communities in 1993.
I'm not sure controversial it's front covers. The same effect, but never mind. Let's move on. Now, it's never nice, is it, to hear someone talking about you behind your back?
No,
so spare a thought for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who was the subject of some severe backstabbing at the G20.
Awful.
Who knew
awful
Obama
comments.
was so catty?
Oh, and Sarkozy. There was all sorts of nasty comments going. This was in one of these what they call sidelines bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the G20 summit down in Cannes. They thought it was all behind closed doors, but the journalists managed to stick their earphones into the translating booths to listen in on what was going on in this supposedly private conversation. What they heard was Nicolas Sarkozy saying, "I can't see him anymore. He's a liar." That was about Netanyahu.
As in, I can't be dealing with him anymore.
Can't be dealing with him anymore. Obama said, "You're tired of him? I have to deal with him every day." So they were having a very catty little discussion about Benjamin Netanyahu. Journalists didn't speak about it surprisingly until yesterday.
Quite amazing to me. Why would the journalists sit on that all week? That's a huge
It's a bit of a scoop. Well, it was only yesterday that Array sur Image, a website here in France, came out with it, and then of course it went viral. I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe they thought, oh, we're going to get in trouble if we talk about this. I mean, some people say in France, journalists aren't as courageous as they should be sometimes when they have a scoop. So maybe it's something to do with that. And here you see on France Info, a radio station here, there was an interview with a political observer in Israel called Emmanuel Navon. He said that Nicolas Sarkozy is already not very popular with the French community in Israel. They have a very big community out there who are allowed to vote in the presidential election. They did in 2007. 80% of them in 2007 voted for Nicolas Sarkozy. Now he's not popular amongst that community at all. For several reasons, this comment, but also the Palestinian statehood bid at UNESCO, which France supported. And
it's not going to do Obama any favours when he goes into the election and he wants to court the Jewish vote,
Definitely not. So that was one conversation they would have rather...
costs lives, as they used to say.
Absolutely. And votes.
And votes. So good, yeah. All right, we've got some more jibes and insults, have we?
We do indeed. This came out in Business Week, and Le Monde has picked up on it. They have a chart of all the top insults that came out from behind closed doors. So you have Merkel, who apparently said of Sarkozy that he's like Mr. Bean. You had Cameron, who said of Sarkozy that he's a hidden dwarf. That doesn't really make any sense. When is he hidden?
What's he hiding from?
And he's not a dwarf, of course. And then you have Berlusconi, who said awful things about Merkel. That came out a while back, quote unquote.
And tell us about the cheese. That's my favourite, I think.
And yes, Merkel apparently was on a diet, and Nicolas Sarkozy said she says she's on a diet, but then she helps herself to a second plate of cheese.
Goodness
so
me.
You see that the thing is,
no wonder the economy's in the state it's in. And these are the people leading us.
What can we conclude from this? Politicians don't like each other, I suppose.
None of them like each other from looking at this. Do
you know what the gong for the most boring comment is? It goes to Jean-Claude Juncker.
Oh, surprise! What did he have to say?
He said European legislation is pointless and Europe's image is disastrous.
Well, isn't he part of the legislation?
He is, but I think it's a very. I mean, if he knew he was in an insult contest in this chart, maybe he'd have come up with something a bit better. But they're pretty.
And of
grey.
course, Sarkozy, the simple yet effective. Shut up.
Right. There you go. Cameron. That was to Cameron very recently.
What kind of example are they setting, James? I wonder.
Desperate.
All right, and we've just got time, I think, to talk a bit about this one of the Paris Metro.
This is a
Some
photo.
smarty pants has doctored a picture. Tell us
That's
very
right.
quickly.
Now, this is in the Paris Metro. It's on the Line 3 at the stock exchange stop called Bourse. And they're shutting down the stop because they don't need it anymore. There's metro stations all around it. So, fermeture définitive, it says there. And somebody said, ha, ha, ha. Economic crisis at the moment. So because of renovations in the economic system, or because of the upending of the economic system, the stock exchange is permanently closed. If for anyone who wants to claim money back, and it says something very rude at the end.
Yeah, that's very rude. Don't translate that. That's something a European leader
gone
might
viral.
say.
It's all over Facebook at the moment.
Yes, I've already seen it actually, James.
There you go.
Anyway.
Not telling you anything you don't already know.
Lovely. James Creedon, as always, many thanks indeed. Well, it's time now to find out what else is happening on the World Wide Web with our daily dose of web news.